Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonathan Little. This A Little Coffee almost did not happen. Many things have gone wrong this morning. Well, first things first, I woke up and I was super tired. I woke up at 8:30, so 30 minutes ago. Then, my phone wasn't working at all. When I tried to touch the top of the screen, anywhere at the top of the screen, it would not function. Goodness gracious. So that was a problem. Then, also, this device has been malfunctioning. I need to calibrate it, but calibrating it takes a little bit of time. I didn't have time to calibrate it because I woke up too late. So, that's why it's always important to wake up early and show up on time, or way before on time, so all of your things function properly. Turns out I had to update my phone. I updated my phone. It just got finished updating about 7 seconds ago. And now the top of the screen works like magic. I don't know what the deal was, but it stopped working last night, and now it's working great. So if the top of your iPhone is not working, maybe you need to update it. If you have a device that's not working, you need to calibrate it. Calibrating it doesn't take very long, but it does take a minute. And I don't have a minute because it's 9:02. It's time to start. So anyway, this episode almost did not happen. But I knew all of you would be here, waiting on me. And I love all of you. So why would I ever let down people who I love and who maybe at least like me a little bit? It's not the right thing to do. You need to have good integrity, good work ethic, and I don't know. Hopefully the show shows that I have at least some of it. We are still in Baja Mar, as you can tell by the blue background. And there's a chance the internet dies, right? So deal with me if that happens. I'm not in control of that. It's died almost every day. But it comes back. It only dies for like a minute. Good morning from Hong Kong. Hello, Louis Philippe, Paul, David, Jay Bogots. Everyone's here. All the early birds. The early bird does get the worm at the end of the day. I'm a pretty big fan of waking up early, because when you wake up early, you get a lot done. It's actually interesting the things poker players choose to do with their free time. And whenever you do play poker for 10 or 12 hours a day, you do actually get some free time. Some players wake up early and go to the gym or go play tennis. I was talking to Brandon Adams yesterday. We're both from Pensacola. We grew up in the same area, just a few years apart. Seems like he's probably doing better than I am at everything. And he wakes up and he plays tennis with Patrick Antonius in the morning. Seems like a good activity. Says he hasn't even played much poker because everything's so great out here, right? And it's true. Everything is so great. They have apparently a great golf course, a great tennis area. Tennis area is right outside. I see people playing all the time. So it's nice at Baja Mar. But that's what he does with his free time. Some people, after the poker tournament's over, they go and they gamble in the pit all night. That's what they do with their free time. So, which activity do you think is a better use of your free time while you're playing a poker tournament? And it actually depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Many people, they get to play tennis and golf all the time in their regular life, but they don't get to gamble ever. Some people get to gamble at home all the time in their job, like if they are investors or poker players, right? So they get away from it. Some people are just degenerates, right? If you're a degenerate, you probably need to get out of the pit. Anyway, it's interesting to see who is choosing which activities to do. You'll see some players sitting outside on the beach meditating, right? You'll see some players at the gym working out, swimming. That's what I'm going to do as soon as I'm done with this. I'm going to throw on my bathing suit and go swimming in the ocean. And you need to pick your activities wisely because you only have so much free time, and you need to make sure you're utilizing your free time to the best of your ability. And, you know, at the end of the day, some things are just productive and some things aren't. That's what it amounts to. So today, let's talk about perspective. Perspective can mean all sorts of things. To me, perspective means how you view the world. That's at least what we're going to talk about today. That probably is not the strict definition of perspective, but it's what we're going to talk about. So, this came to my attention. We needed to discuss it yesterday when someone asked, but what do I do when I'm on tilt? And the question is, why are you on tilt? You're on tilt because of the way you view the world. The way you view the world impacts how you react to the world, right? For example, what if you thought your goal in poker was to lose and give away your money? What if giving away your money was actually winning? What if that's what you wanted to do? Because you have all the money, you're rich, you don't care, or you just don't care about money. You're trying to get rid of it before you go away, or maybe you just don't want it. You don't need it. What if that's your goal, right? Well, if that's your goal and that's what you're trying to accomplish, when you lose hands and when you get bad beat, you would be happy, right? Because that's your goal. That's what you're trying to accomplish. And I'm not saying that's the goal of a lot of people, but it's an interesting way to at least flip everything completely on its head from what we're trying to accomplish and realize that whenever you go on tilt, it's because you think something is supposed to happen that has not happened, right? Usually. Some people get tilted for a few various other reasons. I mentioned Jerry Tendler had a book on this yesterday called The Mental Game of Poker. He goes through a bunch of different types of tilt, and I think it's a good guide on tilt. Usually, though, people get tilted when they think they are supposed to win. Or, well, and it's worth mentioning that most people, when they buy into a tournament, think they are supposed to win, right? They go to play poker, they buy in, they think, okay, this is it. They're excited, they're going to win, because the goal of everyone is to win at the end of the day. And when they don't win, they get annoyed. Now, this can mean they get annoyed when they lose with the best hand. Some people get annoyed when they lose the tournament because they thought they were supposed to win, even if they do get it in poorly. And this leads to people to be annoyed. Now, it's very important to understand that you are not supposed to win when you play poker. You're supposed to realize your equity over the long run when you play poker. Anything and everything can happen in the short run. So, someone sent me an image yesterday on Twitter saying, look at this. I have aces on 2 tables and kings on another, and I lost all 3. This site must be rigged. Referring to some site I've never even heard of. And my reply was, I've had aces on 4 tables at the same time, and I've lost with all 4 of them. This just happens, It's not rigged, it's just variance, right? If you play enough, these things will happen. So, you should not feel bad or angry or bitter or anything when you lose with your hands. Because you're supposed to lose with your hands sometimes. When you have 80% equity, it means you're supposed to lose 20% of the time. 20% of the time is kind of a lot. So, don't be upset when you lose. Notice, though, this is a different perspective, right? If you think you're supposed to lose sometimes, when you do lose, why would you be upset? And the answer is you will not be upset. I'm not upset whenever I lose. You're supposed to lose sometimes. Yesterday in the $5,000 tournament, I made a hero call on the river against a good aggressive player, Anatoly Filatov. You all may know him from Instagram. And I know I'm supposed to lose on the river like 60% of the time. But I was getting 2-to-1 pot odds. So I needed to win 33%. I thought I was going to win about 40. Right? I'm supposed to lose there. I'm supposed to win sometimes. I'm supposed to lose sometimes. And win or lose, you can't be too happy. Because I know he plays well. I know he's going to have some bluffs, presumably. Unless he just thinks I'm a huge calling station, which he may. But if he's playing well, I'm supposed to hero call. I'm supposed to call my pair. And sometimes you're going to win and sometimes you're going to lose. You should not be happy when you win or unhappy when you lose. I was not unhappy. I went and had dinner. And it was nice. Let's see. Eddie has a good quote for me. We don't get to pick when we're going to win. I don't think that's exactly what I said, but you don't get to pick when you're going to win. That is absolutely true. I think I've said something similar many, many, many times. All right. Daniel says, one trick is to note when you got lucky or coolered someone, how many lucky breaks you've had. Listen, most of us started with nothing, and we now have something. We've all had a lot of lucky breaks throughout life. I was talking to Andrew Roble about this yesterday. He was talking about how he's on a bit of a downswing, playing out here in the Bahamas, and I said, we all started with $50. He's like, yeah, but I don't want to get it back to $50. And it's true. You don't want to get back to where you started. But remember, we all started with not much. Let's see. Just the other day, there's a guy at the final table at Montreal. Yeah, it was amazing. The guy who busted in sixth place got him with pocket aces against ace king and ace queen, and I think he lost to one of them. And you're gonna lose sometimes. Site's not rigged, you just lose sometimes. Aces against ace king and ace queen is in pretty good shape. Mick says, thanks for my work. Good, I'm glad you enjoy it. It's snowing in Ontario. Oh, I love the snow. I hope it's snowing in New York when I go back. Is No Limit Hold'em the easiest game to master? No, that would probably be something like Tic-Tac-Toe. Tic-Tac-Toe is an incredibly easy game to master. As games become easier to master, they are played for less and less and less and less and less money. You want to make sure if you want to achieve wealth from a game, you want to make sure you're playing a game that has lots of skill, but also skill that is hard to quantify. What's my next poker festival? I don't know. I'm going to have a baby in December, and babies throw a wrench in everything. So, I don't know when I'm gonna play again. All right, more about perspective. So, whenever you're on the table at tilt, what should you be thinking about, right? You get it all in, you lose, whatever, you're angry. Look around the table. Observe. No one else at the table is angry. Why is that? Because they did not just feel the sense of loss. But remember, loss is all in your head, right? Winning and losing does not equate success and failure. And, like, for example, the guy Jack, he got all in with aces against ace king and ace queen. You all are telling me he lost both of them to both the ace king and ace queen because they both made flushes or something like this. Did he fail? No. He crushed them. I think he actually slow played his aces too. I think someone raised, he called, someone jammed, someone else jammed, and then he cold called off, obviously. He actually played great. He crushed them. Wasn't even close. He succeeded as hard as he could succeed, yet he lost. And that's the funny thing about poker, and it's also a funny thing about life. Sometimes you can succeed amazingly well, but still get crushed. I mean, this happens in business, it happens in investing, it happens in all sorts of stuff where you don't have direct control over the results. So, be happy with your successes. Now, something else important to realize is that in your activities, failing at an activity does not necessarily mean you are a failure, because the things you do are not necessarily you. The thoughts in your head are not necessarily you, right? And I think a lot of people think that if they succeed or fail at something makes them a success or a failure. And you have to understand, a lot of you are playing poker just because you like playing poker, right? It is part of your identity. I understand that. But it's not actually you. So what is you? It's a very hard thing to determine, but you need to sit down, you need to figure out what you actually care about. And at the end of the day, if being a winning poker player is all you care about, well, you're probably screwing up already. But if that is all you care about, then yeah, I guess if you fail at poker, you are failing. But it's probably not all you care about, right? You probably care about your career. You probably care about your family. You probably care about some other hobby out there, right? And at any point in your life, you're not going to be doing great at everything, and sometimes you are going to be doing poorly at everything. But you're probably going to find there is more to life than just one thing, and if you get upset anytime one of the many aspects of your life is going poorly, that's just, it's irrational. You're going to be unhappy all the time, and we're not trying to be unhappy. Stefu says, damn, you're going to be an amazing dad. I already am a dad. I have one baby already. His name is James. You're on Instagram, so go back and look at my Instagram feed. You'll see little poker advice, sometimes featuring Mr. James. He's in there. He's a good baby. Would you like a coffee sponsor? This is currently sponsored by Baha Mar Coffee. Made in a device right over there. Never thought about getting a sponsor. But hey, if you all want to sponsor me, feel free. Let's see. How do recreational players build a bankroll? Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll and join my training site, pokercoaching.com. There you go. When you make a mistake playing poker, it's easy to lose your head. In these moments, you find it most important to keep moving forward. Making a bad play is another reason why people tilt. People tilt for all sorts of reasons. I mean, imagine the things that can go wrong at a poker table. They don't all annoy everyone. For example, some people get annoyed when the dealer screws up. Some people don't care at all. Some people get annoyed when the dealer screws up 5 times in a row. Some people don't care at all. Some people get annoyed when the dealer flashes a card, right? Say you were supposed to get an ace, but the dealer flipped it up by accident. Some people get annoyed. Some people get annoyed whenever they lose a hand. Some people get annoyed when their opponent has bad body odor. Some people get annoyed when their opponent sits too close to them. Some people get annoyed whenever they play poorly. Some people get annoyed whenever they put chips in the pot incorrectly. Some people get annoyed when the tournament director doesn't announce the blind levels went up. You know, like, you can get annoyed for all sorts of reasons. And all these reasons hit everyone differently. And it's important to understand that, well, you need to understand what tilts you. I think it was Louis Philippe yesterday in the chat wrote down just like a sentence. And the sentence made it very clear to me what he was dealing with. He was dealing with an issue of wanting things to be at least relatively fair. But in gambling games, things are often not fair. Fair. I mean, they are fair, but in the long run. They're not fair in the short run at all. What does my diet consist of? Mostly the same stuff. I have Living Fuel Super Greens. I talked about this in New York. Here it is. I think I talked about it when I was in New York. It's powder. It's not particularly delicious, but it's full of good stuff for you. So we put water in it, and you drink it. We have that. And then, I've been getting a sandwich at Starbucks each morning, a turkey, egg, and spinach sandwich. Not ideal, but fine enough and quick. I have conch fritters. Conch fritters here in Baja Mar. Conch fritters are delicious. I had those one time at the buffet. Probably not everything you need. Prent Line says, you're always on vacation when you play poker, so it's hard to get really tilted. Some people get really tilted because they think they're supposed to have a great vacation, and if anything goes wrong, they get annoyed and angry. We'll talk about diet at a different point. Really, I don't think it's that important as long as you're eating reasonably well. I have been getting off of a very strict diet recently, which is probably just a bit of laziness. What is in the conch? Conch is a mussel. You know, like a clam or an oyster. But I think it's a big mussel. It's a big mussel in a big shell, like the size of a laptop computer. And they get it right out of the ocean here. And basically they get that. It's a little bit chewy. Often they cut it up into little pieces. Kind of tastes like slightly chewier lobster, I guess. But it's good. They can also grill it or they can fry it or whatever. They have fried lobster on the menu. On the buffet here. It's delicious. All right. Why is walking away the only recommended method for a downswing? Oh, I don't think I've ever said walk away. Why would you think that I would say walk away when you're on the downswing? I think that's probably good advice for most people because most people are tilted and annoyed in their head. But in theory, if you're playing with an edge, you just want to keep playing. It's like, say you're in an amazing game and you lose 5 hands in a row and you get stacked 5 times in a row. Should you quit? Obviously, no. That's irrational. But a lot of people do quit because they can't stay sane whenever they're on a downswing because their emotions are involved, because of their perspective, right? If your perspective is, I have a huge edge in this game, I'm going to sit here until I win all the money, well, then you're in good shape. Now, if you sit there and you end up losing all of your money, it may become clear that you don't have an edge. You may think you have an edge, but you may not. This is what's cool about poker, is that you may think you have an edge, but in reality you may not have an edge. Eddie always wants to know what's the greatest achievement of my life, and I keep telling him I haven't had it yet. I haven't done anything that great yet. We're not there. Be patient. If I've done everything I've done in my life, I mean, I guess it'd be an okay life, but it would not be not be as fulfilling as I would prefer. Fulfilling. Who needs to be fulfilled anyway? That's another thing. Gang says, scroll up. Gang, you have to realize. In your hometown, they will have a bamboo shack that I will love. Any advice for running? I mean, come on, gang. Look, we're having a talk about perspective. We're not just going to hop around and answer all sorts of gigantic questions. How's my day 2A yesterday? I lost. And I don't think I failed, but I lost. It was a pretty rough table. I had Phil Gruzium to my left. We had Anatoly Filatov to my right. A bunch of other good players to my left. And it was fine. I didn't win. I doubled up pretty early. So I busted my first tiny stack. I had a tiny stack. Then I rebought again, obviously. And then I doubled up, and then I lost some hands, and then I got to a starting stack, and then I busted. Today is the final day you can enter. I can play 2 times, and I will play 2 times if I have to. There's lots of overlay, very likely, and it should be good to go. What separates Stephen O'Dwyer from everyone else? Everyone always asks this when someone's running hot. And the answer is he's running hot. I remember I was talking to Steve O'Dwyer a while back. This is a few years ago. And he talked about how he's like sad and depressed whenever he was infinite in makeup. And you may ask, why would he be infinite in makeup if he's so much better than everybody else? Well, because he's going down swings, right? Sometimes you lose. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. People think it's like an insane accomplishment to win 2 tournaments in a row or make 2 or 3 deep runs in a row. And it happens, right? I've had at least 2 that I can remember off the top of my head where I had 2 first places back-to-back. And I know another time I've had 2 second places back-to-back. Right? And it happens. And another thing you can do is if you look at specific results, you can often skew the results to make them say what you want them to say. For example, what is it? I'm trying to think if I even have a funny stat. I think something like out of the last 5 $10,000 buy-in tournaments, I've had a 2nd, an 8th, and a 6th. Right? Seems pretty good, right? But I've only played 5 $10,000 tournaments in the last year. So it's not that beneficial when you think that I've also played a bunch of other tournaments. We've had a bunch of 3,500s, a bunch of 15,000s, a bunch of 25,000s. I've also gone 0 for X and 25Ks, right? I mean, I can either look like the best player ever or I can look like the worst player ever. It all depends on how you look at it. It depends on your perspective. It depends on what you are looking for. A lot of people are looking for specific things, whether or not they think they are looking for specific things. So, for example, some people look for ways to be annoyed. Some people, like at poker tournaments, some people really care about the structures, and if it's not exactly like they want, they get angry and annoyed. Some people don't care at all. I don't care at all. As long as it's reasonable, right? I'm usually pretty happy. And you need to make sure you're looking for good things in the world, right? You need to be looking to help people. And listen, I know I say you need to be doing things sometimes. I'm not trying to tell you what you necessarily need to be doing. Exactly you. I'm trying to tell you what I'm doing. I'm trying to be beneficial and helpful and useful to people. Because I've had lots of people help me, right? And I want to give back. You're going to find that often the things that have happened to you, you often try to either make sure those happen if they are good to other people or don't happen to other people if they were bad for you. This is why, like Tony Robbins, for example, he apparently had no food as a kid very often, and now he makes a point to donate millions and millions of meals a year because he doesn't want anyone to go hungry like he went hungry. I was helped out by a lot of people, therefore I want to help out people, right? I think you're going to find that your upbringing, one way or the other, is very impactful on the way you view the world and the way you try to contribute to the world. If you grew up in a very cynical household, you're probably going to be naturally cynical. But that doesn't mean you have to remain cynical and you have to remain, kind of angry, right? You don't have to be angry just because you grew up angry. I mean, like in America, for example, only 100 years ago or less, there were lots and lots of racist people in America. But you don't have to be racist, right? Just because your grandparents were racist does not mean you have to be racist. You grow up and you learn things. and you ideally better yourselves. And that's probably the goal of most natural organisms. If you think about it, they're all just trying to make their way through the world without dying, and while also bettering themselves in some way. And sometimes it takes a long time to better yourself, sometimes it doesn't. But realize that where you come from certainly does impact your mindset, but it doesn't have to be the overriding factor in your mindset. Advice often given by people is reflected from the advice they most often need to be given. Sure, sometimes. What's it better to play poker on, weed or alcohol? Depends on which one is going to impact your perception, your perspective, right? What annoys me? As I have gotten a little bit older, I think most things don't annoy me, which is good. I mean, things can annoy you, but they also do not have to impact you. For example, yesterday, well, the very first day of the 25K, the dealer was not good. The dealer did not know what the blinds were. He did not understand that the big blind had to put in an ante. All sorts of stuff. And he wasn't dealing the cards very well. He was not a good dealer. I don't know how else to say it. And that was annoying. But is that going to make me play poorly? And the answer is definitely not. I like it when things start on time. I like it when things are prompt, right? I guess because I try to be on time and prompt, so I hope other people do that too, even though I know they're not going to. So I like that, but it's not going to impact me, right? It's not going to make me make poor decisions. Understand that when other people do things to you, or when variance does something to you, that does not mean that you have to now make poor decisions, or even react. Very often, I mean, this happens on the internet. There are internet trolls, right? They may say something rude to you, or they may insult you, or they may try to bring you down, but you don't even have to react. A lot of people think they must react. And very often, the right play is to just remain silent. Have I ever played on Adderall? I have tried Adderall and Ritalin once or twice. This must have been 8 or 10 years ago. The doctor told me I had the most severe ADD he's ever seen. But he says I channel it in good directions, which is good. Sometimes I channel it in not so good directions. Like if you go out and you have lots and lots of alcohol, that's not a good direction. If you go out and you bet on lots and lots of sports, that's not a good direction. But he says that I tend to channel it in pretty good directions. For example, I write books, I make videos, right? These are things that most people cannot do because they require you to sit and grind hard. At least the way I do it. I sit there and grind hard for 10 hours a day for 3 weeks, and I'm done. And it's good. But he says if I'm not like really into something, I tend to not be into it. But I've found ways to try to make myself really into beneficial things. So whenever I did try the Adderall and Ritalin, I did not like it at all. I don't know, it was weird. I did not like it. I can't even remember how it felt, but I remember not liking it at all. I don't really do drugs or drink or anything like that when I play poker. I don't know why, just never have. I can tell you why. Perspective. Whenever I was growing up, they taught us drugs and alcohol are bad. They ingrained that into every little kid's mind in elementary school, and I guess somehow it stuck. That said, I love wine now. Britta says, the doctor gave it to you. Just because the doctor gives you something does not mean that it is good. The doctor gave it to me as well, but that does not mean it is good. Society, to some extent, has determined that it's better to put a Band-Aid on problems than fix the problems. And I always, if it's possible, try to fix problems as opposed to put Band-Aids on it. For example, let's say you know that you become very irresponsible when you drink alcohol and go to the casino. Let's just pretend that's you. If that is you, what can you do? Well, some people may say, you just have to deal with it. Take less money to the casino so you don't lose as much. Don't get credit so you can't lose your house. Other people may decide, I need to completely avoid these things. I need to cut them out of my life. It's probably just a good answer for most people who have problems. Maybe you need to learn to walk through the casino and not play, right? If you have to go through the casino on a regular basis. Maybe, like for example, whenever you walk through most casinos, or whenever you're playing poker, you have to walk through the casino to get places, right? If you have an irresistible urge to go and gamble, you have to learn to break that. Either that or just completely stay out of the area. But the right answer is not, oh, let's just go play but a little bit less. I mean, I don't know. If you have focus problems, maybe drugs are the answer, but maybe you need to work on your mindset in general. Don't just think, I need drugs to fix this problem. Drugs may fix your problem, but they may not fix it optimally, or maybe they do fix it optimally. I mean, sometimes drugs are the answer, right? If you have an incurable disease or some sort of genetic disease, often drugs are the only answer. Technology is good, but it's not the only answer. That's I guess what we're trying to get to here. All right. Is there a different way to view poker or games in general to accommodate strategic thoughts? Well, this is sort of the idea of, can you be a math guy or a emotions or feelings or tells guy? And you can be to a certain level. To beat small stakes and medium stakes live poker, I don't think you have to be a super genius. You don't even have to be that good. You just have to be better than your opponents, right? That's what you have to do to win at all games. For example, if I play football against a toddler, I'm going to win. If I play football against anyone who is reasonable at all, I'm going to get demolished, right? Depends on who you're playing against. So very often, you don't have to know math at all if you're playing against people who also do not know math, or if they know it just a little bit, are not very good at it, or don't apply it well. But as you play higher and higher stakes, you need to be better and better at all aspects of the game. You will find, though, that playing fundamentally sound often trumps most of the other aspects. That said, if you're like a huge tell box, you show up and whenever you have the nuts, you like perk up, you get excited, and when you're bluffing, you're like, oh. I mean, if you do that, then yeah, that's obviously not going to work out so well for you. But if you have a reasonable poker face and you never pick up tells on your opponents, you can still be a very, very big winner if you play fundamentally sound, because your opponents do not play fundamentally sound. Doc says, you're trying to become a solid hyper 6-max player. After 500 games, you're breaking even. 500 games is nothing, Doc. Hyper turbo games have huge variance, and there may not even be any winners in the game. It's always important to look to see if there are winners and what winners are winning. Maybe there are sites that do that for you, I don't know. But if no one's winning, or the biggest winners are winning at like 1% ROI, obviously you're going to have huge swings over 500 games. I used to play 3,000 games a month with a 10% ROI, and I would have break-even months, right? 2 out of 12 usually. Whenever people come here and they ask me long poker questions, realize I'm probably not going to answer it. We have my inner circle for that, jonathanlittlepoker.com/inner circle. You can ask me all the hand questions you want. And it's nice because I can put the hand on the screen. I can share it with everyone. We can get everyone's insights. But it doesn't work so well on Instagram, where it just scrolls right through. I'm not going to sit here and scroll back through all the chat. Also, you have to realize we have many chats going on. I have 1, 2, 3 chats. One of the chats aggregates 3 websites. So we have 5 websites going on. I'm not going to go through every single hand that gets posted, or many hands that gets posted. I still play small house games with friends. No, I haven't done that in forever. Josh, it's always important to ask, why are you playing poker? What's your perspective, right? Are you playing because it's fun? And my answer to that's generally no. I have plenty of fun playing for the high stakes, because I'm also playing to make a living. In theory, if I could just stop playing poker, would I? I mean, I think I'd still want to play sometimes, but I definitely don't want to go and play for fun. And the reason for that is because I just don't have time for fun. If I had infinite time and no responsibilities, yeah, I'd probably go do something like that. But I have no time and lots of responsibilities, so I can't do that. Doc says, regular speed games have less variance and higher ROI, but less dollars per hour. Well, if you're breaking even at 1, maybe it is more dollars per hour. I'm part of a backing group, and we've pretty much determined that turbo games and high-stakes satellites are unbeatable, or nearly unbeatable, at least to the point where it's not worth the efforts and the time to play. You may have like 5 or 10% ROI, which is not good for a multi-table tournament. It's just not worth it, and it jacks up variance. I'm the hardest working man in poker. Hopefully, I feel like I do work hard. I also want to make sure I'm working smart. It's very important to work smart. That's why I have 5 chats going, not just one. What's my favorite quote? I don't know quotes. I don't remember stuff like that. People always want to know my thoughts on crypto. Why do you want the thoughts of someone who doesn't know about something on something? It's like, what are my thoughts on basket weaving today? Tell me. You must know. Just because everyone in the poker industry seems to think that some things are hot or not, does not mean that everyone has a valid opinion. At the moment, I believe crypto is currently down a lot. We discussed this yesterday, right? Whenever things are down a lot, it's probably a reasonable time to buy. Whenever things are spiking, it's a good time to sell. Same thing in all markets, right? Whenever things are getting dumped on, you want to buy. Whenever everybody thinks it's awful, you want to buy. When everybody's like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever, that's when it's time to get out. That is one thing you will learn as you get pummeled a few times in a row. Was I scared to commit my life to poker? No, I was just playing poker for fun. I enjoyed it. Was I prepared for the sacrifice? Like, listen to this question. Listen to this question. Were you scared to commit your life to poker when I first started? Was I prepared for the sacrifice? First off, I'm not scared of most things. Next, why was I feeling like I had to commit my life when I first started? And was I prepared for the sacrifice? I feel like I have not made a sacrifice at all. So, for example, when I first started playing poker, I just liked playing the game. It was fun. I played lots of games. I played Magic the Gathering, chess, etc. And I just thought it was fun. Right? And given I thought it was fun, I wasn't thinking at all I want to devote my life to this. And, I mean, I had, I don't know, something like $200,000 before I even thought about becoming a pro. Because I wasn't playing for the money, right? I just played because I liked it. I played because it was fun. At that point, what sacrifices was I really making to quit? I was making $20,000 a month consistently, relatively consistently, right? I had to give up a college scholarship, but I could go back to college for $50K, and I had $200K, so that was locked up. I had to give up a $10 an hour job. It's fine, right? I did not have to make sacrifices. So I was not scared at all because I already had a year's worth of pretty consistent results, right? Then I knew I could go back to college if I wanted to, so I wasn't afraid of that. And yeah, I don't know. I like that question doesn't resonate with me at all, and it's a matter of perspective. I was playing a game for fun. I didn't need money. I needed like $1,500 a month to live off of. I was making $20,000, right? It's not a scary thing. I was very diligent and disciplined when it came to keeping track of results, keeping expenses low, and knowing that as long as you don't spend all of your money, it's pretty hard to go broke. And I spent almost none of my money, and I think that's very, very important. A lot of people think I'm going to get into money because I'm going to get into money. I'm going to get into poker because I want to win money. And that's the wrong way to go about it. You should be getting into poker because you love playing poker. Ultimate Masters at $14 a pack. I haven't bought a pack of Magic cards in years, ever since they ruined the border. I think you're probably a fish if you buy Magic cards or if you buy Magic packs or play Standard or play Modern. I think that's probably a very, very big financial mistake. Play Vintage and Legacy. So I never went broke. No, I never went anywhere near broke because I'm not trying to give away my money. I kept a big bankroll. I also did not maximize my potential income. A lot of people think you need to try to win as much as possible, but I always took the stance of, or the mindset of, I'm trying to have long-term profitability. A lot of people don't really care about long-term profitability, or they don't think about it. They think instead about how do I get as rich as I possibly can. Marion says, do I have a lesson on using HUDs? Not specifically HUDs, but I do definitely have it on categorizing players. Is there educational value to watching streams of people play 2-5 cash games? You would be much better off going to a place like Crush Live Poker, where you have good pros who play the games analyzing it. Also, I have a few videos at jonathanlowpoker.com/training videos, where I go through like Live at the Bike or Stone's Gambling Hall games. S. Dup says, we don't get old because we don't stop playing because we get old because we stop playing. Yeah, maybe that's true. I think watching streams is fun, but not necessarily educational unless you are actively asking yourselves, what would I do in these spots? What a lot of people do, though, is they have a beer and sit on the couch and watch football and watch a poker game at the same time. And yeah, you're not learning anything from that. What stakes did I start playing? I played 25 cent, 50 cent limit Hold'em. I had 100 bets. Probably a little bit light, but it's what I had. You surprised to see that someone lost a heads-up game with a big chip lead. People lose big chip leads all the time. Talking about variance, right? Imagine you have a 3-1 chip lead. How often should you win? Well, 75%. 25% you're supposed to lose. I don't know how big of a chip lead he had, unless it was like 99-1. I guess it's like not relevant to me. Again, perspective, right? I remember when I used to play heads up sit and goes. One time, a guy had 15 chips. I had how many chips did I have? I had the rest. I think we started with 1,000. So that means I had 9,985. I don't even know how big of a chip lead that is. But I lost, right? How could Jonathan Little, one of the biggest winning sit and go players, lose a heads up game like that? Well, you lose sometimes. Don't get tilted. Don't get angry. It happens. All right, what else can we see? What else can we discuss regarding perspective? I wrote like just viewing what you see versus what you see in the air, and from when you're high up in an airplane or in a building, right? You see things very differently. You see different views. Silly metaphor, but it is actually a relevant thought. You realize the world is quite big as you get farther and farther away, farther and farther up, and you realize that the things you're doing are often only a little bit relevant, and maybe that'll let you not take yourself so seriously. Let's see. Your perspective determines your reactions. We discussed that a bit already. For example, some people growing up, maybe they were taught that life should be fair. And when it's not fair, when they think it's not fair, they get angry, they get annoyed, they get tilted. Right? Next. Oh, here's a fun quote that I like. I don't know if this is a quote or not. But basically, if you have two monkeys, and you have one monkey in a cage, and the other monkey in a cage, separate cages, if you give one monkey a banana, and then take it away, that monkey's going to be pissed. But if you give the other monkey no bananas, he's not going to be pissed at all. Right? So you have two monkeys. Both of them have the exact same thing. They both have nothing. One had an experience that made him pissed. The other one does not. Why? Because people and monkeys, and probably most things, most creatures, associate having something with good and not having something with bad. You have to get that out of your mind. You have to understand that just because you have something does not make you, right? It's like not like these are starved monkeys that really need the banana. They're just like regular plump monkeys. And you know, most of us are regular plump humans. We don't really need a whole lot. But we think we do because everybody else thinks they do. And don't get caught up with the rat race, right? Do not think that you need to chase things. Magic the Gathering is a great example of this. It's a game where you can't really make any real money. It's a game that costs a lot of money to play. Depends on how you do it. If you play the new formats, it really costs a lot of money. If you play the old formats, you actually make money, but that's negligible. What's the purpose? Something in my upbringing, probably the fact that I played games all the time, made me think that being good at Magic is something I should do. Why do I think this? Well, I enjoy the game. Why do I enjoy the game? It's a skill testing game that also has variance, just like poker. But, so listen, I aspire to be very good, and I think I am good, but certainly not amazingly good. But like, what is the purpose? If I go and I become the world champion at the format that I love, what would that do for me? You win like $1,000 or something, like almost no money, and you get nothing, right? You get an accolade. Why do you need an accolade? You don't. So, I have not gone to play the World Championships of the format that I like. Even though I could. It's not that far away from where I live. I could just take the weekend and go. But, it's pointless at the end of the day. It's purely in my brain that this is something I need. For some of you out there, that may be a local title in your local home game. Maybe it's a World Series circuit ring. You want to ask, why do you want these things? And, it's good to have goals and things that you want to achieve. But make sure you're not doing it at a detriment to yourself, right? And I think it would be a detriment to myself to go spend a weekend playing a game that does not matter for no money when I have all of you, all those people I love who rely on me to do good work, whenever I have a family that relies on me to be there and be with them as much as I possibly can, right? It would be irresponsible. And I try to be responsible, right? Let's see. Post-session reviewing the hands you thought you played poorly or well. Yeah, you should definitely review the hands that you play. I write down all the hands that I play, and I think it's very beneficial. What version of Delver do you play? I used to play Grixis Delver in Legacy, but they killed it. And the new version's not very good. So I've been playing Storm. Actually, I haven't really been playing Storm. But I have Storm built and ready to play. Because I don't get to play. I literally never play. I have the cards, but I literally don't get to play. I did play online the other night. I've been playing Storm in Vintage too. Dark Petition Storm. Anyway. Let's see. When I taught my parents the fundamentals. I didn't teach my parents the fundamentals. I didn't never really taught my parents the fundamentals. They studied themselves. I tried to help my parents, but they did not want to study with me for some reason. So, I mean, it's not like they were like, no, we're not studying with you. Just, they have life going on, right? They would read books, though, and they would study themselves. But yeah, going back to perspective, realize that what you see is not what is actually happening. I think a lot of people think that what's going on in their head is the only thing that matters. And it's not. It's just not. It really just is not. A lot of people are always asking questions that may not matter. For example, when you go to a poker tournament, a lot of people ask, how many levels do we play today? Doesn't matter. The answer is actually no, right? And why do they care? Because they think they're supposed to care. Why do they think they're supposed to care? I don't know. Something has taught them they think they're supposed to think about this information. And it's just not relevant. Do I own Power 9? I own one complete set of beat-up Power 9 that is all altered besides the Time Twister. Mark Tadine was very slow getting back the alter, so I requested the card back. But they're all altered by the original artist. I love altered Magic cards. Why? I don't know. Going back to perspective, right? I like fun, unique things. But do I need it? I've actually thought about selling them because Magic is spiking. Remember how we talked about when things are spiking, you need to sell? Actually, I think they're a little bit on a downswing now. I should have sold 6 months ago. But I didn't. We just held on to them. I probably value them too highly. Let's see. What's more important to me, the trophies or the money? Neither. Money's the thing you can have interesting perspectives on, right? Growing up, money to me was a scarce resource that should be hoarded because I guess you never know if any more is going to come around. Now, money to me is a tool that I use to try to get the things that I want to get. Like, for example, if I want to have a chatbot made, someone's just mentioning the chatbot in the chat, you can go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/quizbot, go sign up for that, and you get to play some fun hands, right? That was something I thought would be neat. I spent some time making it, but I also spent some money making it, right? I used the money to make the chatbot for you because I think it will be beneficial for all of you, right? So, I now view money more as a tool as opposed to something that I spend and hoard, right? And it's very important to get, at least in my mind, to get your money to work for you. This is why you often need to be investing your money in things. For example, if you put your money in a stock, you're essentially having people work for you to grow your money. It's very important to grow your money. How many days does the QuizBot last? There are 5 cash game hands and 5 tournament hands. Maybe more if we decide to make more, but it takes a lot of time. I have to go through and read all the responses, and there are a lot of responses. Basically, every single time there's an action, someone has to write out what happens. I did not write them out, but they're basically cut from quizzes and articles that I made in the past, but I have to go through and make sure all of it lines up right, all of it sounds right. Takes longer than you would think. But yeah, so money is a tool. Use your money to get the things that you want. Ask yourself, what do you need or want to achieve in life? And if you have money, do not be afraid to throw the money at the problem because money is a resource you can get more of, which is very important to realize. And at the end of the day, ideally, you want to have a money-making machine. If you can spend $1 to make $2, well, there you go. You have your printing press, right? Once you have your printing press, you're off to the races. I think it's very, very useful to figure out a way to make income without actually doing a ton of work on a ongoing basis, right? If you can figure out a way to generate somewhat passive income, I think that's vitally important to long-term success in life. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do. But you have to find a way to add value to the world. Not just a few people, but to a lot of people. If you can figure out a way in your life to add value to a lot of people, you're off to the races. Airbnb pays 4 times the mortgage thought. Brizzy, I have no clue what in the world you're asking. Do I need to play differently on the next bullet in today's tournament since I'll be below average chips? No, not really. I'm just going to go play good poker. All I do is I go and I play good poker. That's the goal. Coke pays 3.5% every 30 days. I think you mean every quarter. Or maybe every year. Someone says gumball machines. Yeah. If you imagine you owned every gumball machine in America, that would be very beneficial. That said, I don't know how much money you actually make on a gumball. Gumballs are clearly free, but you have to pay someone to go restock them. What you need to do is you need to have something that does not require restocking. You're going to find that physical items are very, very hard to do in business because you have to have capital up front locked up, which means you know you need to sell it. It's quite difficult. Is there a live stream of the tournament? The tournament is live streamed at partypokerlive.com. You may have to sign in to watch it. You have to click the TV option in the top menu bar of that. Kat says, loves the QuizBot. Good. Again, all of you can sign up for that at jonathanlittlepoker.com/quizbot. I feel like I did not really get my point across about perspective well enough in this a little coffee. Maybe you all can let me know what you think. I think the main thing is to realize that what you are feeling and experiencing and seeing is not the only things that are happening, and also they don't matter that much. I know sometimes when I'm feeling down in the dumps, it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while it does. I think it probably happens to everyone. The voice in my head may be saying negative things. And it's important for you to understand that the voice in your head is not you. And for a lot of people, the voice in your head is almost entirely negative. I know the one in my head used to be almost entirely negative, but I do my best to get that voice out of there. Now I have a nice positive voice. And I don't know how that happened, but over time, I guess I realized that where's negativity coming from? Where's anger coming from? And it's not coming from you. It's coming from the people before you, and the people who raised you, and the people who impacted your life along the way. And that does not have to be what is going on through your head, and it does not have to be what you teach the next generation. So, get that bad voice out of there and get the good voice in. Realize, bad voice, you're not me. Goodbye. Go away. It's a morphing of all the past bullies. Yeah, perhaps it is. I don't really know what else to say. Understand that you really are in control of yourself. You are in control of your own destiny, for the most part. And you do not have to be handcuffed, essentially, by the things that have happened to you previously in life. Or the things that even happened to you later in life. So yeah. I feel like I haven't got my point across. Oh well. You don't always succeed. This was a big topic. I probably should have structured it better. I had only 4 points, not even 4 good points. This is what happens when you don't prepare ahead. Next time, prepare ahead better, Jonathan. That is the voice in my head. Jonathan, you did mediocre work today. You should probably do better next time. And you know what? I probably will. I'll wake up at 8:20 instead of 8:30 so that this device works, so that it holds my phone. I will structure a little bit better. We'll do better next time. All right, I'm going to go swim in the ocean. This says consider meditation. Yeah, meditation is a good thing for most everyone. Definitely give it a try if you have not. There's an app he's mentioning called Headspace. There's another one called Calm. Those are both good ones. When you have a kid with an irresponsible woman, it can affect your life. Or if you're an irresponsible man, it can affect your life. Lots of things can affect your life. I was talking to, who was I talking to? I was talking to someone at the poker table about how in life, there's really only 5 or 6 decisions that really matter. And your significant other is one of them. So you need to make sure you get a good significant other. The guy was making a joke. He's like, yeah, I've done pretty much everything poorly in my life except for picking my wife. I did that great. And he has a great life. Who'd have thought? So yeah, make good decisions, but also realize that some decisions are very, very important, and on the very, very important decisions, don't screw them up. All right, I'm going to go. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Be good. Be nice. You know the drill. If you have any ideas for a little coffee, let me know. I only have a few more to discuss, on hand at least. So feel free to email me at support@pokercoaching.com with a little coffee ideas. I'm always happy to hear them. I'm always happy to discuss them. I need your input. This is a show that's not just me talking. Well, maybe it is just me talking, but you all guide it. So guide me in the direction you want me to go, and I will go there. Have a good day. Good job. Good luck. And I'll talk to you later.